Welcome to a Thursday edition of Sunrise Extra. We have the 4 boxes in play today, and they are filled by some of my favorite people. We've got Rod Hill bobbing and weaving down there in one corner. Christine Pitawanage, I think, Christine, this is your first time doing Sunrise Extra since before the pandemic began.
Yep.
Good to see Christine again. And then look at that friendly face just below me here in the boxes. Lisa Schroeder is the chef. Hi there, Lisa. The chef and the owner, of course, of Mother's Bistro, a long-time staple in the downtown Portland restaurant scene. You have a pretty interesting story, Lisa, in that you are not open right now. You could be. All restaurants in Multnomah can be. You are choosing not to reopen. And I was surprised to hear this, which I did not know until yesterday. I knew that, when the pandemic began, when you shut down the restaurant, you were still doing deliveries and takeout, but you stopped that as well. So you're doing nothing out of Mother's at the present time. Before we get to why you're doing that, I want to ask you about how you're doing, because I know you to be a really tough woman. But I feel like your toughness and your strength, your resolve has really been tested these last few months. So how the heck are you?
I'm actually good. I finally surrendered. I surrendered to COVID-19, and I joined the ranks of the unemployed about a month ago. And I'm trying to catch up with everybody who's relaxed and taking it easy, because it's taking me a while to unwind from this tough time.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, the pandemic is one thing, right? But then you've also got the protests, those protesters out there, speaking out against racial injustice and police brutality, they say. So what's it been like as a restaurant owner downtown when you're not only dealing with a historic pandemic, but also these historic protests?
Well, I have to be honest with you, that really was the final nail in our coffin. That was when I finally said, when I couldn't get my staff to come to work, and when my staff were afraid to go home, then I said, okay, who am I open for? Why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. We were it was already hard enough as it was. We were losing money every day. I was one of the reasons why I stayed open was I really thought that Portland would need me. I thought they'd need the Jewish penicillin. And I thought COVID was going to hit, and I would be running around town delivering chicken soup. And I'm very thankful that for a minute there, we did flatten the curve. But then things started, but then so that was really good. But people really didn't need my chicken soup, and they were able to get to-go food from their local neighborhoods. They didn't have to come down for it. So we were losing money every day. And then with the protests, to have to fight the battle, to get to work, to leave work, and then also to lose money, it just didn't seem worth it. Mm. Yeah.
Hey, Lisa, Rod Hill here. I wish we were chatting over a plate of your meatloaf, which I love. Hi, hun, to you. Lisa, I think meatloaf, take that as a compliment, please.
Oh, it's a compliment.
Do you have, and forgive me if this is too personal, but I'm wondering, in your mind, are you thinking, well, I can hang on for another few months if that's what it is, but if it goes this far, I can't hang on that far. I mean, are you kind of thinking along those lines at all?
Well, first of all, we are graced with, at least at Mother's Bistro and Bar, a landlord that is making accommodations for us. And so we don't have to pay our full rent. We're just paying taxes and some other things. So that is making it easier for us to do this. So many other restaurants have landlords that are still expecting their tenants to pay the full rent. Ned Zutkin from Mi Mira Mole, for example, finally is shuttering his doors for good on July 3rd because his landlord wasn't at all flexible. So the first thing is we have a landlord at Mother's who is working with us, and with that we are able to carry on not being open. My staff isn't ready to come back. I've been in touch with all of them. Everybody is at least wanting to wait until July 31st when the unemployment kicker runs out.
Right, that's when July 31st is when, as of right now anyways, people will not be getting that extra $600 a month, correct? So that's what we're talking about in regards to the July 31st date?
Exactly. And I mean, everybody's really scared to go back to work. You guys, you're able to separate yourselves.
Right.
But in the restaurant business, you're not able to necessarily distance yourself from a guest. We're going to have to face arguments with people who may not want to wear masks. Look at what people are having to face to be the policemen of people who don't want to follow the rules. And we're just not yet ready to put people in danger. Again, it's at a certain point, why are we doing this? For what? If people were clamoring to eat at Mother's, if there was a real need, if we really had to be open, because if not, people wouldn't be able to get food, I would do it. But everybody's okay. Everybody's cooking for themselves. My staff is not ready to come back. So I have to listen to all these factors. And I have to listen to the fact that the cases of COVID are increasing in Portland, in Oregon, not decreasing. And one of the rules for the reopening was a decrease. And we did not follow that rule so much. And I think there was a lot of pressure put on the governor to open, because she was going to open on the 12th, then put it off a week, and everybody was upset about that. But I wonder if it just wasn't the right move.
I almost want to give you an opportunity here to get on your motherly soapbox, Lisa, because you talked about how it would be difficult for you and your staff to deal with customers who say don't want to wear the mask, want to come in your restaurant and not comply. Right now, restaurants restaurants, grocery stores are dealing with that, right? Every day to a large degree. So do you want to get on that motherly soapbox and tell people that they should start wearing their masks?
Well, I see all over Facebook, all my friends are saying, wear your mask, wear your mask. We know we have to wear our mask. I cannot fathom how there are people that don't understand the correlation to wearing a mask and staying safe. But there are people out there, and, it's fueled by others, and it's I can't believe this is the state we're in. It's a simple fix, but people don't like simple. They want it to get complicated.
I'll tell you on this.
Wear your mask. If I have to tell you, I just can't believe it.
I'll tell you on this show, Lisa. Right, Lisa's been a friend of the Sunrise Show for a long time. I think this is the first time we've had you on as a guest on this Sunrise Extra program. Only seen online on our social channels. But the cool part about this show is people can chime in, which they're doing right now on our Facebook and our Twitter and our YouTube pages. And I'll tell you, every day when we bring up this topic, because sometimes we'll give ourselves a break, we'll talk about lighter material. But when we talk about COVID and when we talk about masks, we hear from people all the time telling us, why are we talking about this? This is still a hoax. They don't believe in it at all. At least that's what they tell us on these streams. So,
oh my goodness. Well, until you've had a friend who has died of COVID, a father of 3, maybe then until that happens and it hits home, they won't see it. Some people smoke cigarettes and they don't recognize it causes lung cancer. There are people like that all over the world. Unfortunately, in this case, they're affecting everybody. And now U.S. citizens can't go to Europe, and there are going to be other ramifications if people don't wise up. And I just don't get it. It doesn't hurt to wear a mask, and it can only help. So please, viewers, help everybody else to wear your mask.
I know Christine has another question for you, but real quick, Christine, I just want to point out Julie Wyatt, who watches this Sunrise Extra stream every day on Facebook. She's chiming in, and she says it's too bad that more landlords, Lisa, aren't like yours and won't work with businesses to help keep them from going under.
Absolutely. Where they can, they really need to. And, it may have to come from the government. The government may have to say, okay, landlords, give them a break, and then the landlords get bailed out. We've given billions of dollars to farmers, billions of dollars to banks, billions of dollars to airlines. How about restaurants? Save restaurants, hashtag save restaurants. That's what we're shooting for. Help us. So many restaurants locally are closing.
Yeah.
I wanted to say one other thing about yesterday you talked about the fruit, and you were worried because you had to pick your perfect avocado. And the solution is, if you need to touch your vegetables, I bring gloves. Okay. Bring plastic gloves and use them only to touch the fruit. And of course, don't touch any body part in between, and then throw them away, and you wouldn't have harmed the fruit.
Are you telling me you were watching yesterday, the Sunrise Extra program?
I was, just to see you.
Now I'm feeling pressure, Rod and Christine. Now that I know Lisa's watching on any given day, I'm starting to feel a little nervous.
Got to up that game, Drew. Okay, and I'm wondering, because, of the restaurants that are open, we've heard of all these different, the lengths that they're going to make sure people are staying socially distant. Now there's seating sometimes that's outside, kind of into the street a little bit. Some restaurants have decided, oh yeah, we're going to turn our parking lot into a place where people can sit. What are some of the things that mothers will be doing once July 31st rolls around, assuming we don't have a huge increase in cases at that point?
Well, we will have at least 8 tables outside, and the city is making it easier for restaurants to take over some street parking as well. So myself and other restaurants on 3rd Avenue, like Bijou Cafe and Kingsland Kitchen, are speaking with each other to try to coordinate our efforts to close off part of the street and put tables out there. And I myself have, kind of asked my friends on Facebook and whatever what their thoughts are, and nearly everybody is like, okay, we'll eat outside, but people are not ready for dine-in yet.
Okay.
Hey, Lisa, this is Rod again.
Yeah.
Question mark for you. This hashtag Save Restaurants.
Yes.
What are you hearing? My point is, I think some people are hesitant to give to campaigns like that because they think the money doesn't ever get to where it's going. Do you know how exactly that's working or how they're going to divvy up that money?
You know what? We're not worried about anybody giving us money. We want to use hashtag Save Restaurants so that we can put the pressure on the Congress and Senate to vote for bills that will save restaurants. So you don't have to give money. The government has plenty. And all they have to do is, instead of giving it to a bank or a farmer, this time help out restaurants.
So again, not a fundraising campaign, it's an awareness campaign.
No. Yes.
Hashtag, and you know what, we have some followers that are backing you up right now. Melissa says hashtag Save Restaurants on our Facebook feed right now.
Good.
We have another woman who is talking about going back to wearing masks. Anita Allen says, I am so frustrated being made fun of wearing my mask when I go shopping.
Really?
Yeah. No, we've heard stories like that too, Lisa. Every day we hear crazy stories on Sunrise Extra. It is true. And then one more comment before I let my cohorts pepper you with more questions. Jeff Lucas, he says, while laughing, Drew is a fruit toucher. Hey, you know what? I happen to be the produce shopper, and I told you I struggle with that all the time. Do I look for the right fruit for me? What do I do with it when I pick it and don't want it? Yeah, gloves.
Gloves.
Good answer. Good answer, Lisa. Motherly advice.
And I was just curious too. I mean, we've already kind of touched on it a little bit. You mentioned, Save Restaurants, and there have been a number of Portland restaurants that aren't going to be reopening. I mean, we've heard, Montage. I mean, that the list just kind of goes on.
Blue
and
Hour,
who knows?
just yesterday, right?
Right. And so, who knows how many other restaurants are going to be following in that same line, unfortunately. So, I don't know. As someone who's been in the industry and who's, really familiar with it, how do you think this is just going to change the landscape of Portland dining?
I think that COVID-19 is going to change the landscape of America, and not just restaurants and not just Portland. We are going to feel the ripple effects of this in everybody's life, in our economy, in our shopping, even in the things that are available. I think that people for example, aren't buying makeup. They're not buying clothes. And so many stores are suffering because nobody cares really what they look like now. No, the restaurant scene is decimated. It's already decimated in Portland. And now today I got news that Toro Bravo, Plaza del Toro, Tasty and Alder, and Tasty and Daughters are now closing for good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's devastating. And it's devastating. It's kind of like we're in Detroit where everything is boarded up, and who knows what's going to be when we kind of wake up and see where we are in a month.
So here's a follow-up too. Hopefully many restaurants will make it. But how do you think things will change for the restaurants that do make it? What are the different business models that, you guys are going to have to take and undergo?
Well, first, people need to realize that the way you figure out how you make money in the restaurant business is by a seat. How much do you get every time somebody sits in your chair, and how many times are they going to sit in your chair? And if you have half the chairs, how are you going to make up for that? So some restaurants are going to have to raise their prices. or make up for it more with takeout. But again, you have to be in a neighborhood, in an area where people are going to want to come to your door to pick up the food or get it delivered. Now, I also hope your viewers know that when they deal with all those delivery companies like Grubhub or Caviar or DoorDash, the restaurant loses money with every one of those orders because they have to pay these companies 20 to 30% of their of what is ordered. And so basically the restaurant is making the food but not making any money. They're just making food to stay in business, to keep the light on, but they're really losing money in the process. So the best way is to get food direct from the restaurant, go and pick it up, or maybe they have their own delivery services. But these delivery services are costing restaurants their lives.
Can I follow up on that? Why would you, if you're a restaurant, then why would you do business with the Grubhubs?
Because, for example, me, I tried to do my own delivery system, right? I said, no, I want to keep my people employed. I'm going to figure this out. So I had to have 3 drivers. I had to have a manager managing them. And the difference, but if I was with the delivery systems, they handle all that. They don't pay their people hourly. I do. It's a gig economy, so whatever they deliver, they got paid for. So they don't have expenses, Grubhub or all that, just what is actually delivered. In our case, I had to pay these people to be there and wait for the orders to come in. And if you don't use these delivery services, then how are you going to get the food to the people?
Right.
So many people aren't even leaving their homes and are relying on these delivery services to get their food.
Hey, you're calling in on a Zoom line right now, right? Because I'll tell you, your picture is perfect. The delay is non-existent. We've got Rod over there in Clark County. He's on the show every day, and he's got a greater delay than you have, Lisa, with this by way of Zoom.
Well, it's thanks to my wonderful husband who set me up with a camera. He set me up with the earphone. I'm doing it in our bedroom. He had to get up this morning and out of bed so I could do this.
It sounds and looks great. But Rod, do you have one more question, Rod, for Lisa?
Well, yes. First off, I would like her hubby to just relax and get back into bed while we all watch. And then secondly...
you want to watch him get back into bed?
So, yeah, what the heck? So, Lisa, I'm guessing that part of what's going to be needed from this, Save Restaurants awareness are some sort of campaigns or loans to make it easier to start getting back into the restaurant business once this is all over. Is that something also you're thinking of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but so many of us have paid into insurance to cover us for business interruption. We've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, all the restaurants, if God forbid there should be an emergency. And none of us were covered for this, okay? Every insurance policy has a virus exclusion. So, here we are, we're thinking we're covering ourselves and we're making sure everything is going to be safe. And then you get kicked in the butt and the insurance company tells you, sorry, you're not covered. So this is times where we do need the Senate and the Congress to jump in and say, no, you need to either cover the restaurants or they need to find a way to subsidize, because it's just untenable. There is no way for restaurants to get through this and survive without some help. We need help. We don't always ask for help. Now's the time where we have to work to save restaurants.
I'm in a bit of a pinch right now because I have about 17 more questions for you, Lisa, but we have limited time now. We're running out of time on the Sunrise Extra program. Well, I want to point out that Jim Felt is commenting on the Facebook stream this morning. Good morning, Jim Felt. He simply says, Lisa is so correct. The world has changed, a reference to that statement you made earlier, Lisa. Jeff Lucas was asking, any damage to your restaurant by the protesters, Lisa?
Yeah, well, actually, just a little vandalism and just a little.
Okay.
I don't need a protest to have my windows broken. They were broken before the protest. So just a little vandalism. But then we've been painting the boards. We put up boards on our windows to keep them safe. And I hired one of my employees who is a person of color, and she is an amazing artist, Sochi Potter, and she is painting all of our boards as an homage to all the children who have been killed by police. And so we've got their portraits and she's painting them. Unfortunately, they have been damaged and tagged. But anyway, we're fixing those and we're covering them with plexiglass so that they can be there and not desecrated as a memorial to these kids.
That reminds me of one last thing, and let's close with this because I know you are a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, Lisa. And so right now, when I went to your website yesterday just to check it out because I hadn't been on your site in a while, I noticed that you're doing something. While your restaurant is closed, you're encouraging people to do something else, and I'll let you go ahead and explain that.
And I just want them to eat at Black-owned restaurants and patronize Black-owned establishments. And let's do whatever we can to help make up for some of the transgressions of the past. And the little bit we can do is put our money where our mouth is and patronize these restaurants.
So if you go to Lisa's website, if you go to, it's mothersbistro.com, right? Off the top of my head there?
Yes.
So if you go to mothersbistro.com right now, Lisa actually has a link to a list of Black-owned restaurants in the Portland area that you can check out. She's Lisa Schroeder, longtime fan and a longtime friend of the Sunrise Extra and the Sunrise
Love
TV
you guys.
shows. Love you too, Lisa. Thanks for joining us right now. We wish you, of course, the best of luck here. Sunrise
Take care.
Extra
Have
on
a
a
great day.
Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. Sunrise Extra on a Friday.
Bye, Lisa.